So before this review starts, I just like to add that it took me basically 8 minutes to get this harness on because I had to do a little like dance like this, and they wouldn't do the thing, and then they kept falling out everything. But it's gonna be worth it, I promise. Yeah, man. How's your day going? I'm about to do a review though. It's nice meeting you though. Have a good one. So first thing you notice, there's no power steering, and you have to manhandle it. Shout out to the kid in the park on the bike because he knew who he was. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we're in a 1977 Toyota Celica. It's a first gen, and what's special about this one is, one, it is so obnoxious and it looks like it's straight out of Mad Max, and the neck braking is too real. And at the same time, it has a 1UZ engine swap from a Lexus. Now the 1UZ was mostly out of the SC400, and a long time ago I filmed an SC400 with a turbo on it, and after that I really didn't see the motor that much, but they're apparently extremely common here in Hawaii. Another goodie about the engine is that it has an Eaton Supercharger on it, and the Eaton Supercharger is the same exact one from the Terminator Cobra. Yes, the glorious Cobra that everybody loved from 03 and 04, and it was just slapped on this engine. And since it wasn't made for this engine, to get the full effect of it, you have to really mat it. It has to really kind of adapt to everything. Quiet area. So basically the car is technically a 5-speed, but you might as well call it a 4-speed because first is absolutely useless. It doesn't go anywhere. So you pretty much have to start in second every time, but with the blower and the extra torque out of this Japanese V8, it's fine. It just goes just like first gear would. However, when you first get in it, the clutch is extremely tough. So it catches at the very top, just like a Terminator. Since the clutch is really tough, you think the gas pedal would be just as tough, but when you touch the gas pedal, it's a lot lighter. So like, you're kind of MacGyvering with your left foot, but it's an experience already, and it's been like 3 minutes. So this is gonna be fun. You break the law almost instantaneously. Another thing I realized when I drive this car, I'm going to buy a bunch of homes, a bunch of public parks. I feel like such a menace to everybody. It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna move to Hawaii to retire and have a peaceful day, and then you just I say this so much while I'm here, but every car here has to be kind of innovated. Since there's not as many newer cars, a lot of people take the older cars and they really make the best out of them. I mean, Noel wanted to prove that you could pretty much put the 1UZ in this chassis, and a lot of people said there's no way, there's not enough room. Well, now here we are. So I definitely dig it so far. And knowing that it's a V8 and it's Japanese is kind of jarring. This is the first Japanese V8 I've ever driven. And so when you hear it, you're like, that thing's gotta be American almost the whole time. And especially with the fastback styling and everything else. But a lot of people, when they see this car the first time, they mistake it for a Mustang or an old Shelby or something along those lines. And the way Noel treats it is, hey, if they dig the car, they dig the car. Who cares what they call it or not? So, unfortunately, at the moment, we have to go park because there's something smoking. Even though we have to check something out, the smiles are definitely real right now. All right, take two. So we took the ECU off the dash to make sure that everything's okay, and we're gonna keep driving and we're gonna monitor it. Sounds good? Okay. Okay, so we're back. And so the next thing I want to talk about is that there are no bushings on this car. Zero. Like not zero. That's why it's so rigidy and clanky and everything else. That's why you can hear everything, as you can, yeah. So Noel used to have all seasons on this car, and when he autocrossed it, he said he would either get horrendous oversteer or horrendous understeers. So it was really hard for him to tell what to do next with the car. So he would switch to Toyo Proxies, and it changed everything. So like I said, Toyo Proxies, that seemed to work out when I merged onto the highway. On the highway, this thing is so loud. Okay, so I've slowed down enough to the point I think I can talk to you guys. So, other things about the car, a lot of people get it confused with 60s Mustangs, fastbacks, a lot of American cars. But if you look at the similarities, these looked pretty identical back in the day, especially with the louvers and stuff like that, ducktail spoiler. It all kind of adds up, especially with the fender flares. It makes it look super aggressive. And the matte black and Mad Max, let's just be real here, it looks awesome. Thing is this originally did not have this engine, so it definitely was not even close to a muscle car from that aspect. But now, it fits right in. So intoxicating, but at the same time, to have a normal conversation, you have to speak at the top of your lungs. It's like, David, did you just do American Idol tryouts? No, I just drove this Celica. But what makes me so sad about the Celica and then the Celica Supra is that they went so far from their roots in their later years. Like, it makes no sense. They ended up doing basically a two-door Camry. And then it was just a Camry with a wing on it, and then they killed it. And then they had the Scion brand for a while, which now is gone. But I just wish that Toyota made more rear-wheel drive sports cars again. Because we all know what happens when they make rear-wheel drive sports cars. Awesome things happen. Another interesting thing about it, it's on complete Ae86 suspension. So you're rocking Corolla suspension on this Celica with a supercharged V8, and it seems to work. So this thing is like a plethora of brands in this car. So it has an S13 brake master cylinder, then it has RX-7 brake calipers, a bunch of other miscellaneous Toyota parts. So like, think of almost every Japanese brand, and it's probably somewhere in this car. So it just is so cool when people come up with ways to fix things that you would never think of. Like, imagine if this car, you know, if nobody makes this part anymore, instead of selling the car, you make it work. You have to find a way to make it work, and I respect that a lot. So another thing is the interior in this car fits the character, because we got the bride seat, the racing harness, the freaking ignition switches, all that good stuff, boost gauge, which, as we said earlier, 7 pounds of boost is average. The ECU is mounted on the dash, so that's a pretty race car. So yeah, this car was probably not really meant to drive on the street, but you know what, I don't care. That's Japanese muscle for you right there. Alright guys, I want to thank every single one of you for watching. I had a fantastic time driving this car. It was an absolute blast. I want to thank Noah so much for letting me drive this car. It was so much fun. And I will see you guys next time and take it easy. Have a fantastic day. So how was the ride along?
Yeah, you definitely showed me the potential of this car. More than I can.
That's not true. Anybody can learn.
Yes.
You'll make the Hawaii car scene proud.